I call this meeting of the Zoning and Planning Board of Appeals.
Recording in progress.
I call this meeting to order. Roll, Noel, present, Barb, excused, Stephen,
Not present.
Corey,
Present.
Joshua,
Present.
Benjamin, Ben. Oh, we do have a quorum.
Yes, and Ben is here.
Oh,
Ben, you're muted.
well, his mouth is moving, but I'm not hearing any words coming.
Looks like it's on his end.
Yeah. Okay.
I will go about now.
There you go.
Present. There you go.
Thanks, Ben. Approval of the agenda for today's meeting, Monday, February 19th. Is there any action on that?
So moved.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda, all in favor? Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And then approval of the minutes for both the January 15th and the January 22nd, 2024 meetings.
So moved.
We have a motion, is there a second?
You can second.
I'll second it. Is there any
Second.
further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The Zoning and Planning Board of Appeals hears and acts on appeals for variances from city zoning code requirements. The members of the board are appointed, and the board acts as a quasi-judicial body during these appeals, which means that appeals are presented like a case is presented in court, and the board acts as judge and determines whether to grant the appeal by majority vote. For each item, we will hear from the appellant and staff, as well as any additional witnesses where appropriate. If you are the appellant for an item on tonight's agenda, please come and take a seat at the table when your item is called. So regular business, we have Appeal 24-04, consideration with possible action on a variance request submitted by Bernard Hain, applicant and property owner, requesting to exceed setback standards for a permanent above-ground spa for a parcel at 1132 Quincy Street. Folks, members of the Board of Appeals, it's the goal of the Board of Appeals to provide and conduct a hearing that is fair in form, appearance, and substance. To ensure that this hearing satisfies those goals, each member of the Board of Appeals, please confirm the following for this appeal by stating, "I confirm." I do not have a conflict of interest in this matter.
I confirm. I confirm. I confirm.
I confirm. I have not received any communication from any person or party about this matter.
I confirm. I confirm.
I confirm.
I confirm.
Great. Great, well, let's start with staff, but please feel free to join us at the table here. John, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
Thank you, please proceed.
All right, so the appeal in question is under Chapter 44-520, subsection A, setback. This is in relationship to above-ground and in-ground pools, spas, hot tubs, things of that sort. So permanent above-ground or in-ground pools, ponds, or spas shall maintain a minimum front yard setback of 25 feet and a rear and side yard setback of 10 feet from adjoining properties. In this situation, the actual hot tub itself is approximately 3.3 feet away from the property line, is what the applicant is trying to acquire here. And the concrete pad that it's on is approximately 1 foot or so from the property line. As you see here, the property itself is along Quincy Street. This right here is the local elementary school, and Monroe over in this neck of the woods. This is a view of the property itself. So it is a narrow lot, it's 45 feet in width. There's the existing house, which is up alongside the south property line. As you can see in the back, there's a small garage. There's a shared driveway between the property to the north and this property here. They had some recent reconstruction of that that was approved for driveway and construction and sidewalk purposes back in 2023. So you might note this when we come to our site plan as far as tenses of new and improved driveways and such. This is a picture of that hot tub itself. It's not being used right now. It's kind of a big paperweight. With it being a big paperweight, this is asking for operations of the hot tub in this area. This is the site plan that was submitted for it. So what you'll see is house, garage is attached to the house, and there's a concrete slab that's replaced. That's already there. It was replaced back in 2023. They added on this new slab, which you could put a new slab, concrete slab back in that area. The question that comes into play here is the hot tub and pool. That's where that section of ordinance says it has to be 10 feet away from a side yard setback. So that little slab is a part of the overall structure of the hot tub itself. So as noted on this site plan application, so parking apron, it was replaced. That was a driveway that's shared between the properties. There's a walkway, it was replaced. But what's that question is the hot tub location. In the backyard, you'll see some power lines. It says our power line to be moved. It's a green line right there. So you're seeing two lines right now. The line on the left is actually an existing line that they're moving to the corner of the house, this northeast corner, to make way for this hot tub location. Hot tubs have to be 10 feet away also from overhead lines. So you're dealing with competing 10-foot line situations throughout the rear yard. So there's a 10-foot offset to the rear property line, there's a 10-foot offset to the side property line, there's a 10-foot offset to the neighboring side property line. That leaves you 25-foot window to place a hot tub. Their power line, as well as a neighboring power line that feeds off to the property owners to the north, goes through the property itself. And so finding a gap to have a hot tub in the backyard does get difficult. There are a few other photos. Now there's some spaces perhaps in the northeast corner of the property where there might be a small triangle to maybe find a Tetris space to put that hot tub in, where you're not dealing with the side yard, the rear yard, and the 10-foot setback for the neighboring property's overhead line. But it's probably pretty rare. Additionally, the property itself, going back to here, you could, in theory, put a hot tub behind the front of the house. So there's a small area back this way where you could, in theory, put a hot tub between the paved parking area and the house itself. If that were to occur, it would require also then a 6-foot tall fence around the entirety of the hot tub to place in that area. So it'd be its own little secluded area off of the house. That's the only other possible spot to really place this. So the slab in the hot tub is in line with that existing concrete patio and deck area that has existed in the backyard. There may be some questions as far as fencing goes into this. So there's a fence that is along the south property line that's shared with the neighbor to the south, as well as a fence that's 6 feet tall in the rear yard, back over to the back of the property. And there's a smaller fence that's a bit more ornamental that exists along the eastern part of the property. It's at the discretion of the zoning administrator to note if there has to be an enclosed fence on a property around the entire hot tub. Because of the nature of where they're suggesting to place the hot tub, the privacy fences, and the nature of where the house is placed right now, in addition to the mechanism that they have on top of the hot tub that locks it in when it's not being used, staff didn't feel it would be appropriate to require a fence then, given the existing conditions of the property. And one final thing, there was a communication with the property owner that you're seeing directly to the south in the balloon house from Jeff Schermetzler and Alyssa Lewis, the property owners. They know that we are the neighbors on the southern lot line to 1132 South Quincy. Their address is 1136 South Quincy. There's a privacy fence which divides our properties, and we have no objections to Barney and Jeannie placing their new hot tub in the proposed location. And that's all I have.
John, what was that rear setback again?
10 feet.
And what's the current setback of the house from the south lot line?
Right. This is approximate, there weren't surveyors that were out there, but it goes to approximately 3.3 feet out as well.
So it's all, in they're not proposing to go any closer than the house exists?
No.
Any questions for staff? Any questions for staff? All right, let's hear from our petitioners. Please give us your names, and do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes, I so swear. My name is Bernard Hain, and this is my wife, Virginia Marco.
I so swear.
Thank you. Tell us about your request today and why you believe it meets the requirements for granting of a variance.
Well, the lot lines of our property were laid out quite a while ago, probably a century ago, which is how we ended up with a 45-foot wide lot, which I understand is one of the narrowest in the city. The offsets were undoubtedly added after our lot was laid out. Currently, with the 10-foot on the sides and the back and 25 feet in the front, approximately 50% of our property would be unusable. But as you can see from the layout of the property, our house at some point in time got very close to the southern lot line. We believe that our house, the original part of our house, was built in 1878. So we're thinking that the owners of the house at that time also owned a lot of the property in the area and probably subdivided, and suddenly all they had left was 45 feet. So that's what we have now. We feel that as our neighbor's garage is also within 10 feet, that there are several other areas or other structures in our neighborhood, and we are just south. We are the first house south of the Astor neighborhood, so there are no historical restrictions on our property. But because of the narrowness of most of the properties on our block, which several are 55 feet, 60 feet, that there are several structures, houses, garden sheds, garages that are within the 10-foot offset here. They're scattered among our neighborhood. So we feel that extending the offset, which is of our house, an additional 6 feet to the, what is that, southwest, would not be out of character with the rest of the neighborhood.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for our petitioners? Any questions? Great. Well, thank you, and we'll deliberate. Maybe we'll raise a question after we start talking a little bit, but members, do you have any thoughts about this? Don't all speak at once.
I'll take a quick going at number one there, preservation of intent. Obviously, it's the intention of the main goal is to keep some separation from the property lines, and I mean, they are certainly restricted, so there's certainly the uniqueness of the exceptional circumstances here as well. So I could tie 1 and 2 there, that really the location they're suggesting, ideally where you most likely want that hot tub. So, I think they're trying to be consistent with regard to the privacy of the lot, as well as honoring their neighbors with a letter, as well as the exceptional circumstances of all the restrictions they have in place, that I think works well. With number 3 too, the preservation of property rights, they have a right to have a hot tub. They just gotta find a place to put it. I don't think it's detrimental to any other neighbors. And it's certainly not self-imposed hardship because, like you said, the lot lines were written over 100 years ago, and the codes have been written after that, so it's not something that he would have had any control over, but yeah, that's where I'm sitting.
Thanks, Corey. Anybody disagree with anything Corey just said? Yeah, I'll just echo some of that, Corey. I do believe also that, this is something that the code allows in this district. It's just a matter of location. I think if they were trying to go closer to the lot line and they were going beyond the location of the house relative to the lot line, I would see this perhaps differently, but they're running this, the edge of this tub right along the edge of the house and the garage that's already there. And it is certainly, an exceptional lot in the fact that it has, such as narrow width, and buildings already within, the conventional setbacks. I would note, I used to live in a 40.25 wide lot.
Wow.
That had 13 lines that served other lots crossing parts of it and
Oh my
all
gosh.
sorts of dirt triangles. Yeah.
So
But,
it's no longer unique.
Yeah, no, so it's not, except, no, but it's certainly an unusual circumstance, and I think the slicing of the lot into wedges that just can't accommodate this, I think further reinforces your choice of location with a line move. Obviously, rights we're not taking anybody else's rights away, we're not doing anything to hinder yours, in fact advancing them. We've got a neighbor saying they don't have a problem with this, the closest affected neighbor, in fact, saying they don't have a problem with it. I don't see any argument for detriment to the public interest. And the compliance isn't self-imposed or solely based on economic grounds. I think, one could look at saying, put a second utility pole at the other corner of the back of the lot, and then serve that other adjacent property off of that. That kind of opens up that back area, which looks like you're already gardening there and doing some other things. Also, hot tubs are generally placed closer to a dwelling, not 30 feet away from a dwelling. So, I think I've been convinced that this property meets the tests that we've set forth for the granting of a variance. And I'm not hearing anybody saying that they disagree with that. So, unless there is some disagreement, I'd entertain a motion to act on this matter.
I would move to grant the variance based on the reasoning set forth by Noel and Corey. Okay.
I'll second it.
Great, we've got a motion and a second to grant the variance. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Great, thank you. You've got your variance. Please continue to work with staff on anything that you need to do.
Yes, we really appreciate your giving us the opportunity to present this situation to you, and I want to let Mr. Leroy to know that we need to get a final number from you for the permits and any penalties that we may have to pay, and we'll get that paid online as soon as you let me know.
Okay.
By email, I
Yeah, no
suppose.
problem.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you.
And you beat the meeting.
All right. I can still see the sun.
You guys get some sunlight.
All right. Informational item, the date of the next meeting of the Board of Appeals is March 18th, 2024. I don't believe that one's a federal holiday like 2 of our last 3. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion since I'm apparently making all the motions tonight.
Right. We have a motion to adjourn. Anybody got a problem with that? Or adjourn?
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Fred.
And I don't even have to rush out to the door.
Okay.